I started to think about what couldn't be measured in dollar signs, experiences, memories, things that no one could take away or overshadow. Sophie had always been drawn to art. Ever since she was little, she'd fill notebooks with drawings of anything she could see. I'd find sketches tucked into her school binders, her room, even in my work bag where she'd slip them in as surprises. Money-wise, I wasn't sitting on a fortune, but I knew if I planned carefully, I could make something big happen for her, something that would stand on its own, no matter what her grandparents did or didn't do. It wouldn't be about one-upping Ryan or proving anything to anyone. It would be about giving Sophie something to hold on to for the rest of her life. That night, when we got home, Sophie went straight to her room to read. I stayed in the kitchen, leaning on the counter, thinking about what I could do. I knew I couldn't change my parents. I couldn't control what they gave or didn't give, but I could control what I put into Sophie's life. By the time I went to bed, I'd already made up my mind. Whatever it took, I was going to give my daughter an experience that couldn't be wrapped in shiny paper, shoved into a closet, or compared to someone else's gift pile. I didn't know exactly what it would look like yet, but I knew this. It would be hers and hers alone, and no amount of favoritism could touch it. Once I decided what I wanted to do for Sophie, I started looking into every possible program that could match her love for art. I spent nights scrolling through websites, reading about youth workshops, art retreats and study programs in different countries. Most were too short, too expensive, or too generic. I wanted something that would actually challenge her and also give her a chance to see a part of the world she'd only ever read about. At home, I started slipping in casual questions while we were cooking dinner or driving to school. I asked her about the places she'd love to see one day, the artists she admired the most, the museums she'd want to walk through if she could. She lit up when she talked about Italy, how she'd read about the Renaissance in art class, and how the colors in Botticelli's paintings looked different from anything else she'd seen. She said Florence sounded like a city made for artists. One afternoon at work, a coworker overheard me talking about Sophie's love of art. She mentioned that her niece had done a summer youth art program in Florence the year before, and that it had been life-changing. She pulled up the website on her phone and showed me the photos. Students sketching in front of centuries-old buildings, painting in studios with huge windows, visiting famous galleries with instructors explaining the history. The more I read, the more I knew this was it. The cost made my stomach drop at first. It wasn't cheap, but it wasn't impossible either. Not if I planned everything out and cut back hard for a year. I sat down with a notepad and wrote out what it would take. The tuition, flights, a small apartment for us, food, and a little cushion for emergencies. It was going to mean sacrifices, but the numbers added up if I stuck to it. When I saw that the program allowed parents to come along as chaperones, I felt like a door had opened. I wouldn't have to send Sophie alone, and I could be there to make sure she got the most out of it. That same night, I filled out the application and sent it in. A week later, I opened my email and saw the acceptance letter. She had a spot in the program. I sat there staring at the screen for a while, thinking about how much I wanted to tell her right away, but I didn't. Not yet. I wanted the reveal to be something special, something she would remember forever. The next step was getting time off work. I talked to my boss and explained that I needed 3 weeks away in the summer. It meant unpaid leave, but I wasn't going to let that stop me. Once the dates were set, I circled them in my calendar and started counting down. In the meantime, I began laying the groundwork for the surprise. I found a weekend Italian class for kids at a community center and told Sophie it would be fun to learn a new language together.